Let's start.
Okay, guys, we're going to get started and be prepared. Fasten your seatbelts. I don't know everyone here well, but I've gotten to know you all just from today and having dinner with Kenny last night. He's going to drop some knowledge bombs. I know they all will. And you're going to have to, we're going to switch it up and get a lot of tactical advice on social media. So mastering social media. So I do want you guys to be ready. And I also want to ask, just for the courtesy for everyone, if you guys are going to have conversations, please step out so we can really focus on the people that are here.
Thank you for saying that, because the voices carry.
Yes, they do.
And don't all realtors have ADD?
And put some cookies.
What's that?
Put some cookies in us and we start really yapping, right? So here we go. Kenny, Shannon, Brittany, we all have been on panel, so let's take the time that we would have to introduce ourselves and instead jump into the content. So what I want to know from all of you is, what platforms are you finding that are most effective for reaching your target real estate audience? And let's just go in order.
Sure.
Go ahead, Brittany.
I think the biggest social media platform is the one that you use.
Right.
So we see a lot of demographics and age and things like that. Regionally, what works for me, I just started my track on Facebook. I'm a geriatric millennial, and that's where I've stayed. Someone on this stage has schooled me a lot on Instagram. I have a story to verify it. They did an intervention. But I'm wrapping into Instagram and also YouTube. But I really feel like whatever is true and natural to you that you're going to use on a consistent basis, that's the winner.
That is so true. It's just kind of like a CRM. It's what you use and what's going to be effective for you. Go ahead,
So
Shannon.
I actually use Facebook at a high level as well. I actually had to call Brittany the other day on how to post on Instagram.
And I called Kenny. No,
Yes.
Everybody ends up calling Kenny.
So, I'm going into those other platforms, but, for me, I just, really am hyper-focused on Facebook.
And how about you, Kenny?
I only use Instagram. I don't use Facebook very much. And then I've actually been on a couple panels recently with people who get a ton of business, like the number one agent at Sotheby's in Vegas, 4 years in. The YouTube is, I think, the long-term strategy. It takes at least a year to kick off, a couple years to kill it. And then I had a meeting with a local agent. If you're in a major metro like Portland, Dallas, Nashville, Bay Area is not, Bay Area is really segmented. I don't think YouTube works as well if you're in a very niche market. Like the agent I met was Los Gatos, like those are really, really high-end areas. People are buying $5 million homes are not sitting on YouTube looking at top 10 restaurants. So like if you're covering a larger area, I think YouTube could work for you.
And if you guys are ever in Kenny's presence, watch what you say, because he documents his whole life. So
Yeah.
on
He really
stories.
does.
I noticed he was videoing a lot of
my
it. I'm
gosh.
like, I hope I didn't say
My
that
friends will
right.
call and say, I hear you're with Kenny. I see you're doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yes.
I mean, we'll get calls and people like, oh, how was it last night? And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Here I'm on Kenny's story.
No, Kenny, you mentioned you're mainly on Instagram and you mentioned YouTube too, but for anyone who's on multiple platforms, how do you stay consistent with your brand? Like between Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Reels, X.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok demographic is slightly different. I'm on Instagram stories and it converts over to Facebook stories, so it makes it easy there. Instagram right now is adopting they keep changing the algorithm, so I'm just gonna tell you what's current. Instagram is kind of taking a page out of TikTok's book, where most of the content right now is they're trying to share it with strangers. So like if you post something and it does well, it's actually better for smaller creators, I guess. Like don't worry if you have 500 people, 1,000 people following you, or much less. But if your content does well, then they're gonna really push it to strangers. So TikTok is crazy. I don't use TikTok often, but like when you follow someone, you're not gonna see their content again, which is wild. So Instagram is really helping just any one of us get more viral much more quicker, and constantly if you look at the graphs of who gets to see your stuff, it's mostly strangers, which is great because that's our goal.
Also known as non-followers on Instagram. For me to stay consistent, I use Canva Pro. You guys, you can do everything in Canva now. You can do video editing just like you can in CapCut. I have branding colors. My whole team uses the same font type, all of those types of things, and share it across the board. I also use Opus a lot. Opus is artificial intelligence. You can put a video in, it will chop up the video based on SEO ranking. So that's another way to stay consistent. I'm sure you guys have watched on TikTok where you see someone with the bold orange or pink letters consistently. That's another great one. And then, of course, CapCut. But I find picking a font that is very similar across platforms and then making sure to use your same colors and imaging or filter colors. I recently hired a VA who used to be Forever 21's VA. And so she just rebranded all of my things. I love to get that flair and flavor from her to really have that consistency so that when people see fonts or imaging or filters, Brittany Stewart always is coming to mind now.
That's awesome. How about you, Shannon?
So, what we did is we use a Meta calendar. It's like a social media calendar, but in Canva, we use Canva Pro, but we have about 15 different templates. So this way, when you start at template 1, by the time template 15 comes and you go back to template 1, no one's really seeing the same thing. It's still the same type, still the same brand, colors, things like that, but it's just like little tweaks of certain things. And then we keep that on brand for, cross social media platforms.
If I can take a kind of quick time out, surveying the audience, they're throwing out a lot of stuff, and some people are tracking, right, well, and some people are like, what are they talking about? So let's say we look at a traffic light as an analogy. Green light is you're a pro at this, like you're here for a few tips, but you kind of get what's going on. Yellows, you're kind of in the middle, and red is like, this is a foreign language, we're speaking Russia, like Russian in India. How many people are green light on this? Yellow, middle of the road, and red, and don't be embarrassed. Okay, cool, because one thing I wanted to notice when I'm listening to you guys talk, if you feel like you missed the boat here, you didn't, because it's changing so much that what you would have tried 6 months ago or even 3 months ago has changed again. They're always changing the algorithm. So the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So take what you're learning here and don't be intimidated that I don't know where to start and I don't know what I'm doing. Just start now.
Yeah, I think a really simple strategy is follow people you want to model their behavior after. Since I've been in this room, only 3 people have followed me. I'm saying that as sometimes I'll go talk in classes about social media. I was like, these people aren't literally I'll tell you something, but you're not gonna remember it later, right? There's too much going on. So I would say start by following us so you can kind of see which one works for you. And then on social media, you're not just following the influencers or crazy people with the skits and the comedy. You want to just follow regular agents in other markets and see what's really working for them. If you see a page with templates, maybe you want to copy some templates, but you can kind of just replicate that. I would steal Brittany's stuff, change the font and color, and make it your own.
Absolutely. I always say, figure out who your top producers are in the area, pretend to be their client, sign up on their website, and see how quick they take to call you. See how quick their emails get sent out to you. See all of these things so you can kind of see what the people in your neighborhood are getting as well.
I think what you said too is there's no wrong or right way to do it. I've had social media for a very long time and I wasn't doing it proficiently, right? So literally I'm joking, but I'm being serious. Kenny and I had dinner in Nashville a couple of months ago.
This really happened.
Kenny just looked at me and he was like, we're gonna have an intervention. What's wrong with you? Why do you have a business account? I see you, but I don't see you on Instagram. And I was like, you're right. I'm in Dallas, not as many people use Instagram, but in Cali, everybody's on Instagram. Everybody's doing that. I literally scratched my business profile, and I wanted to be private. I don't want my kids all over social media, but I had a limiting belief around that. And Kenny is phenomenal about showing his authentic self. Sometimes I cringe. I'm from Dallas. I cannot share all those things. But Kenny said, I don't want to work with people who don't want to work with me. And he's right. I want to work with people who are single moms and hardworking moms who have kids and they're trying to get their kids to basketball and juggle this and do that. And I mess up and I make mistakes. And so I hear Kenny's my nagging cousin that she was talking about earlier. In the back of my head, just do it. Imperfect action supersedes perfect inaction all day, every day. And my stuff is not the greatest. I'm not even green light. I wouldn't even raise my hand for green light. But I'm just doing it. That's it. I'm doing it.
I subscribe to the feeling that, hey, I'm smart, but I'm not smart enough to have different versions of myself. So if you're yourself and you're authentic and you're not trying to be a different person to every different audience, it's just so much easier to have like one version of you.
Well, it takes so much energy, right?
Yeah.
We only have so much energy to do so many things. You can't feed into all of these different things. So you can't feed into your clients, then you can't feed into social media, and you can't do all of these things. You can't be 4 different people. So just be one, just be you.
So let's talk about engagement. What kind of content are you seeing that's getting them, like today in November, like in this day and time, what's driving engagement among buyers and sellers with your social?
I think people are looking for lifestyle is a big one. I think another catchy one is behind the scenes. Those are my highest viewed things. Like I have a refrigerator in my car, don't ask. And like I did that and everyone's like, oh, that's so cool. Or you go into a house and it has a secret door or something very unique.
Weird things I see.
Yeah, like weird things that you see, but also behind the scenes. Hey, I'm prepping CMAs today. You probably wondered what that looked like. I did one that got really high engagement that was about opening a super lockbox. It's just, I have a buyer guide. I've just been doing videos on my buyer guide. I made 23 videos in 45 minutes, just going through my buyer guide with little videos. So I think the behind the scenes are really good, and then the things that sell kind of the lifestyle. Because, let's face it, who's watching HGTV and selling Sunset? Not Kenny, but everybody else is. So.
Right. Yep. Jen?
Well, so I kind of do things a little differently with my videos. So I actually own 175 Facebook groups throughout the country. I started actually around the world, because I now have one in England, I have one in Sweden, and I have one in Canada. So I kind of hit different things. I started with my migration patterns because I obsess about my migration patterns, who's coming to me, who's not coming to me. I love using Realtor.com, the cross-market report for that, and then I do the top 10 areas that come to my country, my county, from around the country, and then those is where I started those Facebook groups. Now, I probably have bigger spheres than any real estate agent in the area because I do buy-sell trade groups. And the reason why I do that is it's locals who are looking to actually sell items, not realizing that I'm coming and farming them, So I'm going around the realtors. I'm going directly to civilians. And then really now I have a spot where I can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to put your listing in 175 Facebook groups for people who come to the area. I might be able to save you money on some type of a commission because I might double end it, instead of, say X 6%, maybe I'll do it for X 5%. I'm not really sure, whatever that is in the areas. But, so we kind of do different things like that. But what else I'll do is in those Facebook groups, I'll do polls. So let's just say, I have one in Staten Island, right, where I'll be like, hey, I have buyers moving to the area. What would be a reasonable price you would sell your home for? 500 to 800,000, 800,000 to $1 million, 2 million to 4 million. Of course, I have to research that area first, because if I do 300 to 400,000 and they're like, what's that, right? That's a shack. So, and then what they're doing is it's actually just a poll on these groups. So they're not actually quote unquote responding to me, they're just clicking. They're just like, oh, that's a quick little poll. Well, guess what? Now I just got you, because now I'm going into your DMs and now I'm figuring out your name. You raised your hand. I'm now cross-referencing your address. I'm now doing all of these things. So now I have this off-market list that no other agent in the area has. So, those are those moments where we then try to dip in a little bit deeper. And then when we have those conversations, let's just say 100 people do a poll. I have 100 addresses. I have 50 conversations. 20 are really interested. 5 I might give out as referrals, but now I'm giving them out as referrals because I don't work Staten Island. So now I'm having other people do the work for me, and I'm getting 25%.
You're welcome,
It's
Shannon.
amazing. Yes.
She bought a page in my area. Thank you.
Yes, I did.
Question what content is creating engagement?
Yes.
For me personally, a lot of it is news jacking. I have Google alerts. You can set up your own Google alerts set for your name, for your area. Anytime the word Oakland real estate comes on anywhere on the internet, I get a feed, daily feed. There's also near Oakland, near Pittsburgh, so I keep getting weird news. But Mention.com has it. I personally, I'm more like an industry person, so I report overall because I sign up for realestatenews.com, RIS Media, Housing Wire, Inman. So the point I'm trying to make, your local publications, like your local CNBC, your local, it helps if you're like a bigger city or market, like the SF Business Journal or the Portland Business Journal or Dallas. You want to be the first in your area to report on things that matter to to your potential clients, like new developments or new housing approved, such like that. So and like rates are a little bit the easy way because they're so common, but you want to be the first to report that stuff. And I mostly work in stories, so a lot of my teams will screenshot the stuff to report back to their clients, and they just block out my name for some reasons because they want to take credit for it, which I don't care. They're on my team anyways. Or if it's something that's really good information, you could do a green screen on that. The main thing, like I feel like because I've done social media for 15 years, is really how I built my business, the core thing. But always have an opinion. Like you talk about something, and you should share what your thoughts are on it. If it's your opinion, it's not right or wrong, and you should also always forecast things. So I think as you're getting more comfortable on social media, I get this from Chris Benjamin. He kills it in these funny videos in SoCal. When you're first starting, you're kind of like not comfortable with it. You might back then like point at things or just say things. And second, you start talking about the things. And third, probably the best example you've seen is like Donald Trump. Whether you like him or not, he's very strongly opinionated. Everyone knows who he is. You might not agree with him on everything, but like when he says something, you're gonna take notes. So if you can get to that level of comfort and authenticity with yourself, then that's where people are really looking for on social media. Our company's slogan or motto on our t-shirts is "Be you but fast." So it's really all social media classes tell you be yourself, be authentic, be comfortable. You just gotta you gotta find a way to differentiate yourself in your market. If you don't have the number of sales, kind of go back to my earlier presentation, it's the mind share versus market share. Well, you just saw a whole panel full of market share people. It's really hard to beat them at being good at selling a lot of homes or have the experience, but you can come in from a different angle and be more of yourself and try to relate to that consumer. But if your page is boring, they're not gonna know who you are to even get that first conversation with them.
Yeah, and I'm hearing you say if you put yourself out there too, then they actually know you. By the time you actually meet them, they feel like
like what Brittany was saying earlier about the kids, right? There is a limited belief that's pretty strong. You gotta really figure out what your line is between personal and private. Concerning your children and family, there's a lot of things that are private. Concerning your political views, that could be private or personal.
Like for me, travel, like I don't want to talk about it till like I'm back. I just feel like I'm going to get robbed or something if I'm like always gone.
So no, you're private, like I'm gone. Personal, I was like, I just went on a trip. It was amazing, right? So you gotta, or like your marathon. I cycle like 100 miles a week. I'm trying to get into running, like seriously take running. And if you're a runner, you're not like just going to say, I ran this marathon, good for me, look at me. You're probably, I think you'll get bigger audience. I'm running this type of training thing, and I'm eating like this, and people are gonna follow that for you. Now you're not just the realtor; they follow you because you're the runner, but you also happen to do real estate. That makes it way more personable. So next time you're just gonna be top of mind way more. Not everyone's looking for a realtor. If you think about how often people buy homes, like 7-8 years, if you only want to be the realtor, you're gonna have a really hard time getting just top of mind.
So let's talk about leverage. So like I'm thinking as you guys are watching this, like again, wow, that's a lot. How do they actually sell real estate doing all of this too? So do you have like how much effort does it take? How often are you posting? What's your posting schedule? Do you have VAs? Are you doing it yourself? How did that transition go?
So I do have VAs to leverage some points of it. I think that people that are influencer on a high social media say don't ever leverage out your social media. So I'm working on that, but like I said, I'm a working mom. So I do have a lot of leverage. I have the virtual assistant that I told you guys about, but I try to spend at least 30 minutes a day, me, myself, intentionally posting and doing things. I also told you guys I have an Android, so everything that I do is documented. My VA has access to it. So she'll go back in and ask for verification, but she'll maybe make the reels based off of photos that I've taken here. She'll ask who to tag until she gets used to that, those types of things. But I think that you're creating a persona. Yep. You know, you're becoming an influencer, and I do think that it takes a special flair of your own self to do that. But if you don't have the time or energy to do it, I think hiring somebody to do it is better than doing nothing at all.
Yep. Great
Which that's more of me, because of course I do social media a different type of way, but on my vision board for 2025, we kind of talked about this earlier today, where it's like, okay, I have to start doing video, I have to start getting in front of the camera, because I have a limiting belief on that, and that's where I lack. But I'm not late to the game, I'm just stepping into the game.
Yeah, you're adding another pillar.
Correct.
Right?
I mostly focus like 90% of my time on my stories, so it's hard to explain to you guys what I do unless you follow me. But it's evolved over time. I used to post on my wall a lot. If stories hit or I got a lot of responses and it's funny, then I'll just download that story or take that concept and then make it into a post. But luckily enough, now I have a full video editing department. So all my current posts on my main wall is usually a collaboration with my company page. So it's a little different now, and that's probably a good strategy too, is to find people to collaborate with. Like here's a quick easy one. I mean, if you guys don't understand what collaborate is, it's you can only do it when you post something. You can add up to 4 other people on that, and then the post is now shared on their walls, the main page, not the tag feed. So it's really important. So if you're sending referrals throughout, I would recommend, hey, I just gave Sam a referral in this market. Thank you, Sam, for trusting me with your client. Now you show up on Sam's wall. So next time, maybe someone in their market, like if I tag you guys can send me a referral, maybe some random agent in Dallas or Nashville will come across your walls. It could be a competitor, doesn't even matter. It was like, wait, that guy looks, and then they'll land on my page, and it's like, wow, they work together, and it seems like a good person. So you're kind of building your network, and you really want to figure out, like, so the issue with social media is like we're kind of losing the social aspect. We were losing it. We're just watching these big influencers, these fun things. Like you want to be on the grind, talking to people and just adding people and seeing how you can collaborate and show up on each other, for each other.
I think too, finding collaborators locally are really big. It doesn't have to be an agent. So I run a page called We Heart McKinney. It's the city that I live in. There's other people that run similar pages on that. So now I start collaborating with them. So what Kenny's saying, you're trying to broaden your audience. It doesn't necessarily have to be in real estate. Did you eat at a really good restaurant and you just take a little video? Is there a hidden, speakeasy somewhere? People are really looking for those cool underground things, but then collaborating with them will help increase the growth of your social
multiply audiences.
Exactly.
So I think I want to end this. By the way, we can be here all day, right? I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface. I think I want to end this with all of you just giving one piece of advice for anyone who wants to get started. Like what you wish you knew, if you were starting today. Advice for anyone, specific advice on like how to get the most out of social media.
I would say practice on Instagram stories your stories is gone after 24 hours. No one will ever see it again unless it's screenshot or something. So that's where you can practice your comments, your tagging, your whatever, and just get comfortable with that. If you're really not comfortable with that at all, something I heard from someone else is start taking daily videos, start recording stuff and don't post it. So at least you get in the rhythm of it, and then at some point you're like, this is kind of dumb, maybe I should post it. But it'll get you into that path, and especially selfie videos, if you're not comfortable on camera, I mean, that's actually what you look like. But you get over that hump, and and then trust me, and like as soon as you start doing that, you're gonna get people feedback, and you're gonna enjoy it. Right now it's scary, but once you get over that hurdle, and you're getting clients and friends or laughter or whatever, you're gonna love it.
And then you get the feedback of which ones are working and which ones are not. Shannon?
So I guess I would say, study your algorithms on whatever the platform it is that you're planning on using. Like on Facebook, when you actually interact with people that are not friends of yours, you can only interact with 30 people every hour, or else your page gets suspended for a few hours. So it's like, things like that. Like you just have to, when you're going to reach out and you're going to actually do your touches, just make sure that the algorithm works for you and not against you.
I would say just do it. Work every day 1 degree more. Put yourself out there. Be a little more vulnerable. Spend a minute. We can all do a video for 15 seconds. And then I think the success really of all of us is finding someone who's already paved that road. Find someone who's going to be like your nagging cousin, like Kenny, who pushes you to be accountable, but that will spend, like literally, Kenny spent 5 minutes. He's like, oh my God, this sucks. Like, this is that.
Yeah, it's a quick audit.
Yeah, but honestly, it really kicked me in the pants to be like, okay, he's right. Like, why am I not listening to someone who obviously is far better at this than me? So find that.
One really quick, like you guys were here at this event, do a video, say how great this event is and tag Simon. And you're excited that you're learning today to become a better negotiator, become a better agent luxury agent for your clients. That's a win. You tag people and your clients see that you're becoming better, and you're not gonna be able to record that anywhere else. So you should do that here.
And collaborate with me, I'll collab with you.
Yeah, you know, and keep these little things, like these are your diplomas, these are your certifications, right? Like, you know, take pictures of these, post them all over, because this is us learning. Like, this is our
Show off. Like,
doctor
you gotta
degree,
be
you
social
know?
media, you gotta be less humble. Like, you gotta, if this is,
Humble brags.
yeah, humble brag. You're here at Lux event. You're a luxury agent. Show off.
Y'all are in for a real big treat when you start following Kenny on his stories, though. I'm just gonna tell you that now.
You'll see some fun things from all of us.
My kids love Kenny.
So follow all these guys, because we're going to become experts, guys. We've got the masters here. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
That was amazing.